यार लाइट आंखों में पड़ रही लाइट आंखों में पड़ रही है बहनचोद।
How much more latent would you say going to RAM is than going to like L1 cache?
यार कोडिंग जीसस के
Yes,
इंटरव्यू
this is
देखने में
something
मजा
I
आ
was
रहे हैं।
playing with the other day, actually.
The following is a discussion that I had with a Aussie caller who's a student looking to break into quant trading. He blew both me and the chat away with his level of knowledge, given his current educational level. When I say that this is the ideal candidate to break into quant, I am not understating that fact. And I've spoken to dozens of candidates over the course of this year and hundreds of candidates over the course of several years.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm looking to apply for internship. Is there anything that you're aware of for those specific companies that they look for in candidates, or skills that you should be emphasizing in interviews for those firms, or anything special that you couldn't find kind of online through the website? You know, looking at all the virtues and stuff before you apply, and making sure you have some kind of tailored story when you apply. But kind of beyond that,
Everything that requires effectively on their job description, there's a category like who you are, and the who you are category
Right.
details like what they're looking for, and then there's the what you'll do section. The what you'll do section is another hint as to what they're looking for. So if you can check mark those boxes with the projects that you've worked on, then effectively you should be good to go. You mentioned, sorry, I'm bad. I'm not sure if you mentioned the term, but you're in your second to last year, so in your third year.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, well, I'm actually in my final year. I can go back on for a honors year on scholarship if I choose to. So, what I understand is getting into these firms is a lot easier as an intern and doing like the intern to new grad pipeline
Yeah.
rather than applying as a new grad. So I'm going to apply with that graduation date and take that offer up for an extra year if I get into a firm.
Sure. It's a good idea.
That kind of leads me into a second bit. So how much more difficult is it to get into the firms if I don't make this kind of initial intern window for whatever reason?
I think there's a bit more of a challenge because effectively, like the intern class is always bigger than just the solo dev hiring class. Because so by that I mean like you might have 2 interns in a smaller firm, or maybe 5, or even 10 or 20 in a larger firm, and then they might hire a couple of them, maybe none of them in some years. But effectively, when they're looking for a junior, they're effectively looking for like 1 or 2 people, right? So like
Yeah, that makes sense.
the pool of the amount of people they're accepting is a lot smaller. So the intern pipeline is definitely good. Probably the best way to do that if you're still in school is a lot of these firms have like they visit campuses and stuff. So going to those events, speaking to the recruiter. Even at the firm that I previously worked at, there was a candidate that was not qualified, so I effectively had to reject them after reading over the resume. And then because he had made such good inroads with the recruiter messaged me like a week later. He's like, by the way, have you, the internal HR person, have you reviewed this person's application? I really like them. I'm like, I already did, yeah. And he doesn't have relevant experience. So,
Okay.
get like in good, yeah, with the recruiter.
Yeah. We've had both Optiver and Jane Street come into our school.
Nice.
With people who came from our university.
Yeah.
So I'll attend those.
So are you studying, what courses are you studying?
So I did 1 year of pure math, and then I've programmed for a long time, so I switched to this CS. All my courses are, OS, computer architecture, skipped networking entirely, which I regret, so I'm focusing on that with my projects.
Okay.
I tried to read TCP/IP Illustrated, but it's really
It's dense, right?
I tried reading it like front to back, and it did not work out.
Don't.
Yo, Pink's got the right idea, bro. Green, you should follow Pink.
Good one, son. Let's go. I'll lead. Laying down smoke.
Yeah, it's a B push. Banana.
यार बाय ऑर्डर हुआ ही नहीं.
Good one, lad.
सोच रहा था एक ट्रेड मारते हैं. मार्केट रैट लैब.
We're on.
Okay, boy. Red filled. Well, then white filled.
Deploying flash. Need support now. Need backup.
यार कहाँ से लाऊं ये वाली स्किन. डिस्ट्रक्टेड ये तो ले रहा था. आठ चाहिए ना.
Roger that.
आई है. यही आई है.
India number 1.
मैं करियर का सबसे महंगा ट्रेड करने वाला हूँ भाई. नाइट्रो इतनी सस्ती है यार. अब ये तो रे इतने सारी. इसको खरीद लो ना. परचेज. कितनी हो गई. 1 2 3 4 5
Way
6
to go,
7.
boys. Gear up. We aren't going on a windy walk here. Throwing smoke. Need support now. Good one, son. Bomb has been planted.
सात के बाद 8. आठ 9 and done.
Let's move. Let's give it to them, boys.
अभी तो खोल के अगर कोई बढ़िया से पिंक स्किन निकल गई.
Okay. Looks like getting a lot of
Throwing smoke.
Well, charm.
Affirmative. Hold your positions. Throwing fire. Throwing a grenade. Incendiary action. Laying down smoke. Need support. Need backup.
अबे सोवेनियर ट्रेड नहीं होती क्या? Use with trade of contract. I don't tell me यार, souvenir skins trade नहीं होती क्या?
That's a negative. Smoke.
छुट गया गुरु. ऐसा मेरा गेम खत्म हो गया.
Do that.
Just focus on.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why you have you watched my video where I told you which chapters in particular to read?
I didn't see that. No.
Okay, so I read it front to back. I think I skipped like the last chapter because it was on network security, and I'm like,
Well,
I'm
that's
not
alright.
gonna read it. But effectively, I tell you exactly which pages are relevant. So
Okay.
it'll save you
I'll-
like half the book.
One
Okay.
start.
Yeah. So have a look at that. You mentioned operating systems, right?
Yeah.
And you
Our
mentioned
operating systems course.
And you
sucks,
mentioned-
but yeah.
computer architecture.
Incendiary.
Yeah.
So if I was to ask you, for example, what is a L1 cache? How would you answer?
Yeah.
If
So
trader
that's
and marketer
like 98% of the CPU is actually full of caches. Only less than 1% of it. This is dedicated for computation.
No time.
Okay.
And a lot of the CPU spends its time waiting for I/O kind of processes. So whether that be memory or disk. So yeah, that's the L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache, and then L1 can be split into like.
Come on, chop chop. Throwing fire. Flashbang.
फायर करते रहा करो ना.
Deploying flashbang. Way to go, boys. Brilliant.
सबसे सस्ती पिंक स्किन कौन सी है मार्केट में? पिंक पिंक क्लिप्स पिंक क्लिप्स पिंक क्लिप्स रिवॉल्वर की है। क्या बकवास है ये।
Throwing incendiary. Roger that. Throwing flashbang. Grenade out. Incendiary out. Grenade out. Throwing. Throwing smoke. You're a champion, Sonny. Defusing the bomb. Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Let in the clear, lads. Move it, move it. Throwing fire. Grenade out. Throwing fire. Deploying flashbang. Flashbang. Deploying flashbang. Laying down smoke.
One came out of smoke, he came out of smoke. Long. Bro, what are you doing?
Bomb has been planted. Terrorists
Wow. मुझे तो लगता है वैल्यू सही है, एटलीस्ट मैं डोमिनेट तो करता हूँ.
Move it, son. Smoke. Incendiary. Throwing a grenade. Throwing smoke. Grenade. Throwing flashbang. Flashbang.
Oh, ops.
सरेंडर कर दो भाई. यार एक तो ये इसके लिए जो मुझे बुरा लग रहा है ना, मैं ले लिए और
Let's make this right as rain. Smoke.
oh.
Grenade out. Grenade out.
Oh, B.
Mm,
Incendiary out.
मार दीना.
Let's go. This is all fine.
वो कैसे मार रहा है भाई, पता नहीं.
Planting the bomb. Bomb has been planted.
यार एक तो लाइट बंद करो भाई, मुझे उसको लाइट पसंद नहीं है.
Smoke down. Throwing smoke. Throwing the flashbang. Molotov.
ओ बहन चोद. कितना डैमेज दिया मैंने? बस फट गई.
One on site on. He's doing.
Come on, let's go. Grenade out.
यार एक D2 खेलूंगा भाई. ये मैप ना मेरे से नहीं होते. D2 ही सही है मेरे लिए.
Go, go, go. Throwing a flashbang. Flashbang. Terrorists win. Yeah. I've planted the bomb. Let's get in and out. Throwing the flashbang. Throwing fire. Smoke. Counter-terrorist.
कैसे मार रहा है भाई वो. नहीं भाई नॉर्मल सा D2 ही खेलना है.
Instruction and data
Mm-hmm.
is to reduce the writes, or sorry, the reads, and also cache the writes to and from memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good answer. How much more latent would you say going to RAM is than going to like L1 cache?
Yeah, so this was something I was playing with the other day, actually. So I had kind of I'd allocate like a 1 GB buffer, just with like a manual map syscall with like map populate, so I don't get the page faults when I kind of write through it. And then I would write through kind of on repeat for like 30 seconds each, the regions which fit in my chips, like L1, L2, L3. With SIMD as well, so AVX 512, I was able to get like 200 gigabytes a second throughput in L1. That dropped down to like 150 to 100 on L2, and then my L3 stayed about the same for throughput, but latency was much better for L2.
Okay, yeah,
than
that's a
L3.
pretty correct answer. The reason I bring it up is because I've gotten an interview question, or not me, one of my friends has, where they effectively asked him like, how do you check what RAM latency is? So effectively, like doing what you did, or a similar experiment is a really good indicator that you know what you're talking about. Did you learn about cache associativity?
Yeah, so we did all these problems. The way I remembered it at the time was how many places can a memory address be
Mapped to.
associated with in the cache, right? So you have like 8-way or you have like k-way set associative caches,
Yeah.
where you kind of bucket up the cache into sets of a certain size to kind of reduce your search space when you map to a bucket. But there's like trade-offs there between associativity and search time and
Yep.
all these things.
Perfect. Do you know the difference between physical addresses and virtual addresses?
Yeah, so virtual addresses are kind of an abstraction over the physical address space. The operating system manages for you. There's a lot of kind of cool tricks you can do there. Like you can, well, I guess I'll answer the question first. But you kind of split up it's like a 48-bit address into multiple levels, and you use that to kind of traverse through in a page walk to convert a virtual address to a physical address or a page frame once you get to like the L0 page table.
Yeah.
And then that's an expensive process, so you've got kind of the TLB to kind of cache those translations.
Yeah.
And these things are like chip specific, so
Let's roll.
careful about if you kind of have CPU migrations and these kind of things, all that can kind of get lost. You might see performance drops temporarily.
Yeah. That's a really good answer. Do you know what a cache miss is?
Yeah, so if you go to look something up or access a memory address, probably a read, would have to be a read, and it's not in the cache, you'll have to go and do a page walk
And
to get that.
Do you know what? Do you say page fault?
You'd have to do a
Page walk.
page table walk.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know what the 3 different types of cache misses are?
I haven't had them be split up like that. I know there was like a dynamic where you can get you'd always get a TLB miss, and then you can get like
Right. So when you get a
TLB miss
okay,
is-
okay, let's start there. That's a good point. So I like the way you're thinking. When you get a TLB miss at the beginning of the program, because the TLB is effectively empty, what is that called? There's a word for it. It's because it's inevitable. So there's a word. It starts with a C. All 3 of them start with a C, by the way, just in case you need to remember.
It's slipped my mind.
Compulsory miss.
Yeah. Compulsory miss, right? Compulsory miss, capacity miss,
And?
there's the compulsory miss, capacity miss. I forgot. I remember having to memorize these for an exam. Compulsory miss, capacity miss, and conflicts. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
conflicts and miss.
Yeah.
Right.
Good job. Let me ask you this. So when a CPU switches from one thread to another, you mentioned that it needs to like flush the TLB, for example, because it needs to like effectively restore state from another program. So it can either flush the TLB or it can do something else. There's another thing that it can do to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you can tag TLB entries with like a process or something, and you can swap out processes TLB things. But I think like, yeah, that's probably not a great answer. I know there was something there. I think a lot of implementations do flush the cache. I know like RISC-V has an instruction solely for that, and so does x86, 64.
So yeah, there's like an address space identifier. So like for each process, you're right. Yeah. You're doing really good. You mind if I keep asking you stuff?
Yeah.
So this is good. This is good interview prep for you too. what's the part of the CPU responsible for scheduling jobs?
Right, yeah, so I was learning about this as part of a complex course. I just know it as the scheduler.
Yeah.
So you kind of have the front end and the back end of the CPU. The front end's going to be responsible for your decoding, your branch predictions and things to keep kind of this pipeline full or queue full of kind of micro operations. So you have, for example, like a read, like say you move into some register from a memory address. Maybe you move like a base plus offset type of thing. So you
Yeah,
can, like,
base
break
and
that down
bounds
into
pair.
kind of micro ops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might have like both an add and a read right there. So all those operations get broken down into micro ops, which get into a micro op queue. And then the scheduler is responsible for taking things off that queue and executing those things in kind of execution ports. So those execution ports are like a natural bottleneck on your CPUs. Like my Zen 4 CPU only has, I think it's like 3 read ports and 2 write ports.
We don't need to get that specific, but yeah. And so, what are various job scheduling algorithms?
Right. So I know these kind of from.
Sorry,
how you would.
one sec, guys. He's not using ChatGPT. I can see him. He's not using ChatGPT. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got. I think the ones you might be asking about is like first come first serve.
Yes. What else?
First come first serve. You kind of have priority scheduling.
Okay.
Round robin time slicing. That's more like operating system scheduling because I don't know if CPU things have.
That's
sometimes which
One
runs
CD.
execution.
That was actually kind of. I should have been more specific. CPU job scheduling. So yeah, that was
Right.
yeah. Okay. What's cache affinity? What is that concept?
Ooh. See, this isn't. Yeah, I honestly haven't heard of that before. I've heard of like CPU affinity, where you want to pin your process to a single core to switch those CPU migrations. So you kind of keep your cache filled with stuff from whatever process you're running.
That's effectively what I meant.
Okay. Yeah. So I've just heard it referred to as that because that was messing with some of my when I was doing
यार
that thing.
क्वांटम के लिए
for
कितना
Valorant.
पढ़ना पड़ता है
Memory caches, sometimes I'll get a CPU migration, and I would see that the maximum time would drop down to something far longer. It would take far longer to do those series of writes.
Yeah. How did you solve that? So how did you prevent the CPU from switching? How do you prevent the job from being switched on to different CPU?
So I did have to Google this, and it's not fresh in my memory, but there's a number of syscalls you can make to spin yourself to like a specific core.
Yeah.
So like core 0, and then also you can set your processor's priority so long as you're running it root. So
Yeah.
on Linux, that would be like -20.
Yep.
And that'll at least try and stop the operating system from context switching your program unless it really needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the -20, what the metric that you changed the name of it is? Like -20 is the value, but what's the metric's name that's being changed? It goes from -20 to +20, but you know what it's called?
I don't know the specific name. I would have just thought it was priority.
I think on Linux it's
But
called
no.
niceness or nice. Somebody in
Right,
chat can
yeah,
correct me.
I saw like the -20 nice.
Yeah.
In the like Stack Overflow, and I should have googled what it meant. But yeah.
Cool. Do you know what NUMA CPU architecture is?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, this is something I kind of like learned for an exam, and I haven't delved too much into. But if you have like a number of cores in your chip, you have one main memory. There needs to be some choice about how those chips, those individual cores, access memory. Uniform and non-uniform.
Yeah.
Uniform is where every chip will has equal access to the memory. Non-uniform is non-digital.
Okay.
I can't specifically remember the details of that there
That's fine.
because
Just make sure you know everything for the interview. Well, not everything, but make sure you have more details on the interview. With like your shared memory bridge when two different NUMA cores need to, or NUMA clusters need to communicate.
right.
Okay. C++ knowledge on a scale from 1 to 10, where 5 is average, 10 is really good for like Godfrey level, 1 is I know nothing. What
like a 3, to be honest.
Oh, what's your
C++
primary
is
language? Oh, Python. you said.
So yeah, this is another question I was meaning to ask. I did like a year's worth of part-time work, Python, and then I've switched to a role that is for web development. So it's just, yeah, I don't enjoy it too much. It's all just like AWS plug and play stuff. But yeah, so that was another question I would have had was, that's why I'm doing all these projects, because if someone looked at their resume, they probably wouldn't think I have any knowledge about the other stuff.
Yeah.
Do you see that being a problem, right? I guess before the interview it could be a problem, if you don't get a chance to talk through anything.
Dude, it's a massive problem because I know people that have passed the OA that I personally know. Like I had to screen people, so they passed 2 OAs, maybe 1 OA, 2 OAs, depending on the role. Then the recruiter said, "Can you look at the resume? There's 10 people here. Look at the resume. Please filter out 7 of them." Right? So I literally had to look at the resume based off what it said there. And if you're the type of guy that knows all this, and you don't effectively communicate that via your experience, and your experience is all web dev and stuff, then it's not going to work.
Okay, so that's basically just going to be projects.
Yeah.
I've got to have good projects. Probably a pedantic thing, but maybe putting it above work experience.
Yeah,
even.
you might need to do
Okay. All right.
that.
Cool.
Cool. Any more questions?
In terms of like, nerves in an interview, I feel like once I start speaking, it's fine. But I'm picking once I get into an interview like this, I'd probably be pretty nervous. How much of that impacts your ability to kind of get through to the next stage? Is it just so long as you can kind of communicate the information properly? I'm not sure if that's very clear of a question.
I think based off your current performance here, especially since you're in front of 150 live viewers, I think you've done extremely well in your. I think like communication's the last thing I'd be worried about with you. I think you had really good technical answers. I think that where you weren't sure, you inferred, which is nice. And I think that you didn't stutter or communicate in a way. I think a lot of people in chat and in general can just learn from the way you communicated today. In terms of calming your nerves, best thing to do is look in the mirror, record yourself, and then see if you stutter or you sound kind of dumb or silly. That's probably the best thing you can do to begin with. And then it's just practice and seat time. Like I ride motorcycles, the best way to get better is to just keep
flashing
riding and keep at it effectively.
Yeah, I had a motorcycle for a while. I crashed that.
Oh shit.
Broke yeah, it wasn't good. But cool.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on these kind of like, what are they called? Like mock interview services?
I have a mock interview service. I think it's worthwhile. It depends like who and where and what their credibility is. I was an interviewer for the past 2 years for interns, juniors, and even some seniors that sit in the final round. So just find somebody that kind of has that background of interviewing and they can give you raw, honest advice. I always give raw, honest advice, even in these free calls, because at the end of the day, I would rather somebody hear it from me than best case hear it from the interviewer, worst case not hear it from the interviewer. Because some people aren't going to tell you the real reason why. Maybe for legal reasons or whatnot, maybe for any other reasons. But I think it's important that you hear it from somebody, and somebody that's not going to be afraid to hurt your feelings in that respect.
Cool. I guess final things in terms of like the OAs and stuff. I understand that's just basically to leak code.
Yeah.
Company specific questions.
Hacker rank, yeah.
Hacker rank. Yeah.
Go.
I applied to like 2 firms last year before I'd done any preparation, no leak code. I opened the OA and I just didn't do it. Is there any chance that's going to affect me reapplying if I kind of just...
Did you tell them
ghosted?
that I would like to drop out from the process?
I did not. No.
Okay, so that might affect it, because I effectively got a hacker rank very late from a company that I applied to early, but I already accepted an offer. So effectively what happened after that was I told them like, hey, listen, I got another offer elsewhere, thanks for this. So I'm assuming that means that this time around, They might if within a year for whatever reason they decide to apply again, they won't be like, hey, you've already exhausted your opportunity because I communicated with them. That's the number one thing that people don't understand. Just in general, on a little kind of sidetrack here, communication in the industry is so important. A lot of people think about the technical skills, but effectively, dev is the land of the blind. Nobody communicates jack. So if you're the one-eyed man, you're king. So just communication's important.
Yeah, it was one of those things as well that I thought was very easy. Like what people would say that you know, you need to learn to communicate and stuff. It's like it can't be that hard, but it is very difficult to realize that people can't read your mind.
Yeah.
Even though this sounds very obvious.
And you have different communication style from other people.
Right. Yeah.
So I actually, one of the first feedbacks that I got as a junior was my boss said, hey, I totally like the way you communicate, but some people in this organization think you're too blunt.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well I need to massage my language now. Like my boss was on my frequency, but some people in the org weren't.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's about everything. Thanks
Yeah.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
No worries.
Yeah, see ya.
Alright. See ya.
Alright guys, I'm gonna, the guy with the name B, I'm gonna let you in, so stay tight. But guys, that was probably the best call that I've had so far. He knew his shit, he spoke fluently, he kinda mogs too, not glazing, but he kinda mogs too, and he came prepared. So that's the level you want to get to. I have no doubt that if this guy just like kind of grinds, he can get to Jane Street. He can get to whatever firm he wants, really. Because he has the fundamentals. And he can build on that. So when you see people in my comment section saying that software engineers, all they really need to do is, they don't need to know anything or remember anything in depth. They don't need to know the basics. They don't need to know what TCP is. They can just Google it and search it up. Those people are lying to you. Okay? Those people are lying to you. So when you look at my comment section and it's filled with doomers and copers that say, no, this not, you don't need to know those stuff at a real software engineering role. Nobody knows that stuff. This guy knows it. And this guy is going to make it into the firm that he wants because he knows it. You saw how fluently he answered those questions? So that's the level people should be aiming for.
Move it, move it. Smoke. Throwing a flashbang. Throwing a flashbang. I'm throwing a flashbang.
पता नहीं कैसे मार कर आ गया तो बहन चो में ऐसे फ्लैश कितने गांव पर हैं
That's probably the best answer I've heard ever from a candidate. Most people have no idea what I'm talking about when I ask that sort of question. Okay, how many years did you mention? 3, I think?
2.
Oh, 2, okay. And you're applying for hedge funds, essentially. You have a couple of hedge fund interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, where 5 is average for your years of experience, where would you, and 10 is God, 1 is trash, where would you rate yourself?
In what?
In your C++ skills.
Probably like a 7.5.
Oh, okay. Okay. So in hedge funds, sometimes a lot of them. So I've interviewed a couple of hedge funds. They actually almost start off with like C++ language questions. So they don't start with lead code. They start with. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there. I mean, you said you're 8 out of 10 relative to your peers. Yeah, I would put you there. Before we continue with today's video, guys, I want to highlight different.
Or trying to prep for.
Okay. And what would you say your degree of like professional C++
Let's have at
experience
it, mate.
is? So-
In comparison to my peers, I mean maybe like an 8. In comparison to like an actual like quant dev, maybe like much lower, maybe like a 4.
Well, I'm going to judge
I
you
guess.
against your peers because that's what
Okay.
that's what the firm that you applied for judged you against.
Let's move out.
It's my third internship. It's my first one in the quant industry.
Okay, but it's your first gig outside of school.
Yeah, it's like a normal summer internship because I'm going to do a master's afterwards. But yeah,
Got it.
effectively.
And what's your master's going to be in?
Also computer science, just different specialization.
Okay, I would say like simple character types. So, how big is a char in C++?
Just one byte.
And is it signed or unsigned?
I believe that's implementation defined.
Right. So if I was to check if a char is a unsigned type, what library or signed type, what library might I use to do that check?
I believe there's something within the standard library. There's like I know there's like the is same type V.
Right.
I know it's not the same as there's probably I don't know the exact function name, but I assume there's something within the standard library to check.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's one of the methods that I'd look at. Do you know what library it's contained in?
Oh, like the namespace? Not exactly. No.
Okay,
I
it's
don't.
in type traits. That's not as important. Nobody's gonna deduct points in an actual interview based off something like that, whether you know the exact name of the library. What's the difference between a vector and an array? This is probably one of the most basic questions.
Yeah. So I mean, in C++, like, and all languages, is mainly the fact that vector is dynamically resizable,
Yeah.
whereas an array we would need to know the size at compile time.
Okay. And do I need to specify the size, or can the compiler, deduce that for me?
We're talking about a vector or array.
An array.
When you say deduce, what do you mean?
So can I write std array and then just give it like curly brace 1, 2, 3 end curly brace?
I'd want to say there's a constructor for that. Yeah, I guess I'd say yes. I don't know if the list of drivers deleted for std array.
No, it's not deleted. This has it's not to do with constructors, it's more to do with in C++ 17 you can actually emit a lot of these types and the sizes for these sorts of arrays because there's 10 so you can just write std array, pass it, 1, 2, 3 and initialize the list, and the compiler will deduce the type and size for you, so you don't have to specify
Right, okay.
So now that we're speaking about kind of like functions and arguments and what's going to be returned where by who, if I was to write, foo, and I want to pass in the result of the call to the method A, and then the second parameter is the result of the call to method B, what order are these parameters evaluated?
Yeah, I believe that's unspecified behavior because the evaluation of arguments, or the order of evaluation for arguments isn't defined,
Okay.
or isn't specified rather.
Yeah, that's right. Now, what if I had A and B like before, but for A, I had C that was called inside of A. So A needed to be seeded with the result of function C. Would that make a difference?
So just to clarify, so we have parameters are function A and function B, and function A is just another parameter of C. So the guarantees there is that function has to be evaluated before C, because C would be fully evaluated before we start evaluating A. I
Yeah.
believe.
But does the fact that C is now called in A mean that A needs to be called first?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't need to. Okay. I want to talk about a little bit the virtual.
Yeah.
What does it do, and what is the implication on a class that has at least one virtual method?
Yeah, so I believe virtual keyword is like C++'s main mechanism for dynamic dispatch. So effectively we have like class shape, right? I don't know, let's say we want to have some size method. We want like some square class to be able to inherit that. Essentially we would have this virtual method of size, which can be overridden by square, and that can be implemented to the area of the square. And you mentioned like the implication of that is because, for example, if we had like some pointer to shape during a program, we didn't know when that was called, whether that would be a square or a circle or some other shape. We would do dynamic dispatch, and we'd have to follow the v pointer to access the v table and get the correct function lookup.
Okay. And so, what implication does that have on the class? So I understand that it's used for dynamic dispatch, and at runtime it allows you to change the What is up, guys? Coding Jesus here. Guys, in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys, or walking you through rather, a day in my life as a senior software engineer. Now, my day is a little unconventional, and the way that I'm going to be presenting my day to you guys in this video is by speaking to you guys about it and showing you guys videos and pictures of a day that I filmed a couple of days ago, actually. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Well, as I mentioned, my day's unconventional. I wake up every day at around 4:30, and I'm not even gonna lie, guys, I look hella crusty. Okay, I don't wake up looking majestic with perfect curls in my hair. I look hella crusty. And the first thing that I'll do is I'll probably weigh myself. Now, despite the fact that I'm trying to gain muscle, the scale seems to never move. It's always stuck at around 144, 145. If you have any tips on gaining muscle, leave them in the comment section below. I weigh myself, and then I do my skincare routine. So that involves cleanser, toner, moisturizer, and then under eye cream to try to get rid of like darker under eye fat. Alright? Once I'm done that, I will start working. I start work, guys, at 5 a.m. and I end at 1. A lot of people in the comment section will be like, oh, is this the traditional software engineer life in quant? No, it's not. Okay? For the first couple of years, I would get to work at 9 and end at 5, the standard 9 to 5. As I've worked longer and longer at the company that I work at, I guess I've gained more ability to manage my own schedule, because my boss understands that I get my work done in a timely manner, and that I'm able to manage my own time. And so I've kind of built that credibility in the organization to the point where I can kind of work any hours that I like. People totally trust me to get the work that I need done. So what I'll usually do is I will actually work from home at 5 a.m. till around 6:30. Reason being is because I'm in Chicago and I don't want to get robbed, right? When it's really dark out, that's possible. I actually used to be in the office at 5 a.m. today, but then I heard about somebody that got robbed going at 5 a.m., so I opted to just work from home for the first couple of hours of my day. With regards to work, what I will do is I'll check my email, I'll review questions that I might have outstanding comments on, or merge requests that people ask me to review, and then I'll kind of get into my work. My work involves, first of all, looking at whether there's any outstanding support tickets, whether there's any outstanding inquiries as to problems that people have in applications, or whether they're not sure if the behavior is correct. I might investigate that. If it's something that requires more work than usual, what I will do is I will kind of make a get back to it later. I maybe speak to my boss about priorities related to existing tasks that I have. But the majority of my day, guys, is coding. If I'm not reviewing code, I am actually writing code. And of course, if there's a meeting that happens at 2:30 and my day ends at 1, I'll still get on the phone and be there in that meeting, or I'll go into the office and be there, right? So while my day ends at 1 formally, I recognize that there are other obligations that I still need to be a part of as a part of being in an organization. So I'm not going to be like, oh, it's 1, bye guys, I know you want me in a meeting at 2, but my day is over. I'll be there for that meeting. This particular day, I got off at 12. I decided to actually go to a motorcycle store because I wanted to buy a tracksuit. Obviously, as a motorcyclist, you have various gear, leather jackets, abrasion-resistant pants, but I want to actually start kind of racing on the track and emulating those MotoGP guys taking the corners, and I need a tracksuit to do that. put on a couple of different, you know, the base layer, put on a couple of tracksuits that should be my size, but none of them fit. So I decided to order a custom tracksuit, which is quite cool. You can kind of customize the colors and make it look cool. And those things are hella pricey. At around 1, I finished up there and I decided to take an Uber to the local Whole Foods to buy myself lunch. The company that I work at actually provides really good catered lunches, but I just prefer knowing exactly what's in my food and how many calories are in it, what the ingredients are, etc. So I usually go to the hot bar at Whole Foods. I got chicken with rice.
What coding user hand chop? यार एक और बंदा है तो नाम भूल गया मैं
Throwing smoke. Grenade. Throwing fire. Throwing fire. Throwing flashbang.
बाबा लॉन्ग से भी आ गया
Reflex got the beat, boy.
चल बे साइड हो चल बे साइड हो ये कौन है तू बेहतर नहीं हमसे तो बोल फिर कौन है तू उड़ा दूंगा तुझे भी धुएं में कौन है तू गाय को फंसा तू मेरे में कौन है तू उर्दू रैप मेरा घर तो कौन है तू बेहतर नहीं हमसे तो बोल फिर कौन है तू उड़ा दूंगा तुझे भी धुएं में कौन है तू गाय को फंसा तू मेरे में कौन है तू उर्दू रैप मेरा घर तो कौन है तू गाय को बन रहा तू लीथल जब असल में तुझे भी पता तू पुसी है ये लड़ेंगे स्क्रीनों के पीछे से सामने देखें तो लौंडे लूसी हैं इलाके की बात नहीं कर बेटे शहरी अपनाया कितनों को गाड़ा है मैं वाकिफ हूँ रैप की रक्त से तेरा जो म्यूजिक वो तो पहला पारा है हाँ लौंडों की मुझसे है टसल उजड़ गई है इनकी वो होगी नहीं फसल मैंने तो पहली बोला आया मैं तो पर्ची पे कभी नहीं करी मैंने हसल की हसद पर ये कर रहे हैं लेकिन करके भी कहीं नहीं पहुंच रहे झाट की औकात बने गोट जबरदस्ती के शेर हम वो जंगली जो बकरी है नोच रहे हैं 9mm तो फाड़ देगी भेजे पैर बारी तू खड़ा बेटे रेत में हाई की लाइन में सारे लगे आके करूं चौथ के मशहूर जैसे कि मास्टर रेजे भागते जब आते हम ड्रिल पे चिलगो से गैंगस्टर्स मेरे हाथों चलते ओ फक दिया शॉट योर फेवरेट हम वो फाड़ते के वापस नहीं सिलते भरे बैग्स लाइक खोला मैंने फेंडी रंडी रोना रैपर कर रहे हैं सेंटीज काज ओवर टैटूज हाथ मेहंदी मेरे पे से आई तेरे हाथों पे है मेहंदी सेंसिटिव है सिलसिले सब ना होती ने बातें तो पिल पिले मरे पड़े मेरे आगे सारे सिर फिरे दफन होते कैसे रैपर आके मिल के दे हारानी में कभी बातें माननी में कभी झूठी बातें बिना बकी तोड़ू व्हील इनका सकी देके ढील इनको मैंने काफी बड़ी गलती करी सड़ी पड़ी इनकी पीठ पीछे मुंह पे सकी हाथ बांध छोटे इज्जत दे मुझे पेलू में कला को तेरी बिस्तर पे मरूंगा तो रैप बैठे इद्दत में इनमें खौफ खुदा नहीं ये लिख कर पे भारी है ये वजनी है रैपर और कला में हल्के फाड़ेंगे थैले भाई हम इन पे यारी है कौन ड्रिल किंग कौन लाया ट्रेंड एल्बम तेरी करे साउंड तेरा बैंड डाउनवर्ड्स जस्ट हाउ यू लाइक इट बीफाई करने ये थे मेरे फैंस बजा दिया शो तेरी एरिया में लन भी नहीं दिखा मुझे बकरी तू बेड़िया में एक कॉल पे डाकू मरेगा डाका अंडर एज बच्चे कर दूंगा चाका तू फड्डों में लौंडों को लाता भूलना नहीं कब्र में जाएगा अकेला अब कर ले तू तोड़ फोड़ तेरी सिंगल शॉट तो मेरी कौन है तू बेहतर नहीं हमसे तो बोल फिर कौन है तू उड़ा दूंगा तुझे भी धुएं में कौन है तू गाय को फंसा तू मेरे में कौन है तू उर्दू रैप मेरा घर तो कौन है तू बेहतर नहीं हमसे तो बोल फिर कौन है तू उड़ा दूंगा तुझे भी धुएं में कौन है तू गाय को फंसा तू मेरे में कौन है तू उर्दू रैप मेरा घर तो कौन है तू आप बैठ तेरी नॉलेज में खोलूं अब शॉट के रिप्लाई में दूं मिसाइल कैसे तू आएगा लेवल पे मेरे मैं सुनता हूँ 50 तू KSI फक फेम मुझे पुश करना कल्चर अंडरग्राउंड का मैं बना बेटा वल्चर कर सर तेरा टू स्लो बेटे
Come on, jump, jump.
तू मेरे सब चढ़ बक बक तेरी सुनूंगा मैं कब तक अजल को खींचे तो फीचर के बल पर इनके सोलोज में कला के लिरिक्स गाने तो कुछ
Incendiary out.
बात बेटे मैं हूं तेरा टीचर
Grenade out. Smoke. Flashbang.
तुझे फीचर किया था मैं लेफ्ट शो किया शाउट आउट दैट्स इट पकड़े तुझे रात मैं तो जादू कर हाथ ऊपर बेटे तेरे मैं तो काटू पर घाटू वर्क नहीं शुरू तेरा साथ ऊपर लाए है गांड का इलाज क्योंकि गांडू सब स्विच ओ लूंगा तेरी बेटे में मैं तो ये बेटा तू एक्शन में
Throwing flashbang.
अब बने लेवल तूने भी राइट करी वेव मेरी टाइटल शॉट मारे अब तू पलटेगा बात से लाइव आके बोल देगा तुम्हारे जो माइडल थी मेरी गलती वो दिया था को लैप मार मिलियन विदाउट एनी टैक्स आई डिड इट सो कैन यू मुझे तो है बीट नाउ सो कैन यू काम मुझसे मिलने ऐसी फैन मुझसे हुआ नहीं मर्दों वाला रैप लड़कियों के डीएम में खेल ले तू बहन भाई ये सुन लेट्स होप तू छापेगा नहीं मिलेगा नहीं मुझसे और छापेगा नहीं शो पे बंदूकें झुकानेगा नहीं कल्चर को छोड़ के भागेगा नहीं याद रख तू ऑल यू हैव अगर कदर नहीं कल्चर को छोड़ दे रहा मैंने माना भाई तूने किया स्टैब मुझे किया डिस वेल्टेड फॉर दैट टीम स्ट्रांग तेरा कुछ नहीं जो दे आपको की वजह से हुआ तू बैन चालू पहले
Grenade out.
सारी बातें क्लियर क्रिस्टल चल दे रहा हूँ बेस्ट मैं विश अब कहीं देखा निकाली तूने
Throwing fire.
मैं रख के फाड़ दूंगा तेरे पिस्टल
Smoke.
क्या है भाई?
ये है क्योंकि मैं बहुत कम घर जाता हूँ ना बदतमीजी करता हूँ।
Incendiary.
भाई मुझे नहीं पता क्यों नहीं लगा शॉट।
वेलकम टू पेस्ट कंट्रोल ली तेरी फिर से हो रहा था बोर नो वे आउट मैं हूँ ब्लैक होल स्मोकिंग रैपर टू स्कल एंड बोन्स वेलकम टू पेस्ट कंट्रोल ली तेरी फिर से हो रहा था बोर नो वे आउट मैं हूँ ब्लैक होल स्मोकिंग रैपर टू स्कल एंड बोन्स कल फेंडी तो आज मेरा गुची बैग तेरी हाइट से बड़ा मेरा शू का रैक मुझे पैसे गिनवा रहा ये बच्चा तू वीरस नहीं छोटे तू पुसी कैट मुंह पे आऊं तेरे बट नो होमो कैश करूं ब्रांड फक द प्रोमो तेरी बंदी जो मांगती है पीरियड्स पे यस यू आर राइट एंड दैट्स द प्रोमो
Deploying flashbang.
The fuck? What the fuck is he like?
Incendiary. Laying down smoke. Throwing Incendiary out. Deploying flashbang.
वो मिक्स करे गाने में ले रहा चेकर पेजर पकड़ी मैच 3 घंटे में लिख दिया ना पे चलते हो तितलियां
अबे मारना